Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to episode number 24 of this educational video series. I'm your host Vijay and I'm a CPA. Today we're going to take a look at the formation and taxation of a sole proprietorship. And over the next several videos, we'll take a look at all other common entity types and how they're formed, how they're taxed. So, you'll get a better idea when you're starting up your business as to which kind of entity to select from tax point of view. So check this video out, and if you have any questions, I'll include my contact information at the end. So if you have any questions about this or any other accounting or tax related issue, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you. So check this video out. So let's start off by reviewing the basics and formation of a sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is the simplest form of business under which a person can operate his or her business. Usually, there is no filing requirement. In most cases, you just start doing your business. That's it. Sole proprietorship is not a separate legal entity. It simply refers to the person who owns and runs that business. And since it's not a separate legal entity, as I mentioned before, there's no paperwork required in most cases. But if you may be required to file a doing business as form with your local county or state jurisdiction if you choose to operate your business under any other name than your full legal name. So let's say, for example, your name is John Doe, and then you wanted to operate a photography business under John Doe Photography, then you won't need to file a DBA form. But if you wanted to operate the photography business under John's Photography or Doe's Photography, or any other name that's not your full legal name, then in that case you may be required to file a doing business as form with your county or state jurisdiction. I actually made a video about how to file a DBA form a few weeks ago, so I'll be sure to link that video in the description below. So if you have time, feel free to check that out as well. So other than that, meaning filing a DBA form, there's no other documentation required in order for you to operate a sole proprietorship. So it's very, very simple to form and start operating. And due to the simplicity and ease of setup, sole proprietorship are a very popular form of business entities among business owners. One flip side of the simplicity and ease of setup is that the owner is personally liable for all business related debt. So if business was to fail, then the owner would personally have to pay off all the debt that he or she acquired under business's name. So that's something to consider when you go about operating a sole proprietorship. Now let's take a look at the taxation portion for the sole proprietorship. Now, as owner of a sole proprietorship, you are responsible for two types of taxes. One is the income tax, and then second is the self-employment tax. Under the income tax section, since sole proprietorship is not a separate legal entity, the owner reports the income or loss from the sole proprietorship on his or her individual tax form 1040. There's a Schedule C that has to be filled out to report income and expenses from sole proprietorship, and this Schedule C income or expense will then flow to page 1 of the 1040 of the person's individual tax return. So there's no separate form that has to be filled out as with the case with the partnership or an S corp or regular C corporation. All income and expense items are included on a person's individual tax return. So as far as the income tax is concerned, it's pretty simple operation here. There's no separate form required. Now the second portion under taxation is the self-employment tax. On top of the regular income taxes that an owner has to pay on the income of the sole proprietorship, he or she is also liable for the self-employment tax. This self-employment tax consists of the Social Security tax and the Medicare tax. If you're familiar with the typical employee-employer relationship, when an employee gets a paycheck from an employer, the paycheck shows the withholding amount for the Social Security and Medicare taxes. The employee pays 1/2 of the Social Security and Medicare tax, and the employer has to match the other half of the Social Security and Medicare tax. So that's how it works under a typical employee-employer relationship. But under a sole proprietorship, sole proprietor is considered an employee as well as an employer. So he or she will not have to cover the 1/2 of the employee portion of the self-employment tax, but he or she will also have to cover the other half of the employer's portion of the self-employment tax. So, on top of the regular income tax that a sole proprietor has to pay on the net income of the business, he or she must also pay 15.3% self-employment tax, which consists of 12.4% of Social Security tax and 2.9% of Medicare tax. So as you can see, there's an additional 15.3% tax that a person would have to pay under this sole proprietorship structure. Now there are ways to mitigate that by forming a corporation, and then we'll cover that in the later videos. But as for now, under sole proprietorship, you will have to pay the regular income tax and additional 15.3% self-employment tax on any net income that's derived from the sole proprietorship. So it could pretty easily get costly affair. So something to keep in mind when your sole proprietorship grows up to a level, and it may make sense to just incorporate the business to avoid paying some of the self-employment tax. So that's the basic overview of how the sole proprietorships are formed and how they're taxed. As I mentioned before in the introduction, if you have a question about this or any other accounting or tax related issues, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on your screen. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Additionally, if you like this video, if you find the values in the videos that I create, don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends and colleagues, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's it for this week, everyone. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.